Breaking news: a Kimberly police officer fighting for his life at this hour after being shot during a chase on Interstate 65. Right now, authorities tell us a man wanted in connection to that shooting is in custody. We are live with the latest news and information.
We're also tracking the chance for severe storms today. Right now, rain is sweeping across the state.
Welcome back in at 6:30. We want to get right to both of these big stories. Of course, Sarah live at Warrior with the latest on that police officer.
And we'll get started with WVTM 13 meteorologist Stephanie Walker as we are on alert for severe weather today, Steph. This isn't the first time that Preston Johnson has had a run-in with the law. Yeah, most recently arrested back in October. Officials in Winston County accused him of stealing a Corvette, later found in his possession in Coleman County. Along with that car, they found Johnson with an AR-15, 13 grams of meth, and drug paraphernalia. Of course, we're going to be keeping track of this developing fluid story. We're going to give you updates as they become available, both here on TV and on our free WVTM 13 app.
We can no longer assume that everyone is a part of the village that's trying to raise the child.
An announcement breaking hearts across Birmingham. The search for Camille Cupcake McKinney coming to a tragic end.
And we found this evening remains of a child that we believe to be Camille.
For over a week, communities felt the weight of her kidnapping.
Give this family peace. Give the community peace.
Now this morning, the pursuit for law and order.
Perpetrator of this crime will be brought to justice and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
As officials work to bring justice, hearts all across Alabama are feeling the loss of little Camille McKinney.
Yeah, this morning we have team coverage on where Birmingham police stand with this investigation and how the community is coping at this time with this grim reality.
Our time right now is 6:34, and news of the president and the first lady's diagnosis is already having a ripple effect on our economy. And the Dow futures have already fallen by more than 400 points, with the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 also dropping by 2%. Now, analysts say that these futures started falling when top Trump aide Hope Hicks announced that she had tested positive for the virus.
Now, Hope Hicks has been seen traveling with the president several times over the past week, as recently as this past Wednesday. Now, it is not exactly clear how the first family contracted COVID, but health officials are also turning their attention now to everyone who has been in close contact with Hope Hicks. And that's a big list. That includes all of the president's older children and their spouses. In addition, Rudy Giuliani, Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany, White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. Well, today, it's time for cleanup, right? That'll continue across central Alabama after those powerful storms tore through our area last night.
Yeah, take a look. This is just some of the damage that was left behind. Most of this was near Tuscaloosa and the Birmingham metro area. This was what was left of the BP gas station of I-20 near the Valley Road exit. Those strong wind gusts blowing the roof off there and knocking over the gas pumps even.
Wow, those winds also strong enough to knock an 18-wheeler on its side. That was up on I-22 near Graysville. That truck has since been removed, tipped upright. Thankfully, nobody was hurt there.
And one of the hardest hit areas was east of I-65 in Leeds. That's where several trees came crashing down. This is one of 3 areas that the National Weather Service will be surveying once the sun rises. It's also where we find WVTM 13's Sarah Killian live this morning.
Whoa. Explosions heard throughout the night in Kiev, several other Ukrainian cities as well. That is Russian President Vladimir Putin launches that long-predicted invasion. And this is what the capital city looks like this morning. Traffic on the main artery coming to a standstill. Thousands are trying to evacuate. Russian troops are stationed along 3 of Ukraine's international borders, waiting for the call to strike. But the big question is, how did we get here? Well, tensions took a turn for the worse back in 2013. That's when Ukraine's pro-Russian president at the time ended negotiations with NATO. That sparked a massive uprising as you see a new pro-West government was elected. Now, shortly after, in the winter of 2014, separatists in the eastern region of Donetsk and Luhansk started fighting back against Ukraine's military. Thousands of folks there died, and while never confirmed, Russia was allegedly supplying those insurgents with weapons. This became the leading theory that summer when a Russian missile was used to shoot down Malaysian Airlines Flight 17, if you remember that situation. Things remained relatively calm until last April. That's when Ukraine's president urged NATO to expedite their request for membership.
And that brings us to today. Just moments ago, Ukraine's president severed diplomatic ties with Russia. And as Aixa Diaz reports from our Washington newsroom, President Biden is already working with European allies. And our time right now is 4:34. And back here at home in Alabama, lawmakers are set to return to the State House after passing some controversial bills.
Yeah, the first is a revival of that transgender youth health care bill, which died on the House floor. But if approved, this bill would make it illegal for doctors to prescribe hormone treatments for trans youth or perform gender-affirming surgeries. It cleared the state Senate on party lines. It now heads to the House.
And a bill that would require public schools to stock their bathrooms with menstrual products is also heading to the House. It passed out of the committee with overwhelming support. Now, if that's approved, the State Department of Education would receive $200,000 to supply these products.
Now, it appears as if lawmakers are close to delaying the state's third grade literacy assessment. Both chambers voted to move forward with the Senate's version of the bill, and that calls for the test to begin during the 2023-2024 school year. The House will take that up next week. And one piece of legislation that's causing some friction down in Montgomery, the constitutional carry bill.
Yeah, the Senate has yet to vote on that bill, which would allow Alabamians to carry a concealed weapon or without a pistol permit. Gun owners would still need a permit if they travel to a state that does not recognize constitutional carry. Representative Wandalyn Gavan and 36 other lawmakers voted against that bill, saying it would give criminals a free pass while removing probable cause for law enforcement. It's not known when the Senate plans to vote on this bill. And one bill that's cleared all of the legislative hurdles is set to provide some financial relief for families. Governor Ivey signed House Bill 231 into law that allows families to calculate their tax deductions without listing any child tax credit payments. You can file an amendment through the IRS if you've already filed your taxes with these payments.
The time now is 4:35. Alabama Secretary of State John Merrill could soon find himself in front of a judge. He is being sued by Greater Birmingham Ministries over a records request for allegedly purged voter lists. The group claims that he violated the National Voter Registration Act by doing this, as well as denying former inmates convicted of felonies their right to vote. Secretary Merrill's office says they do not comment on any pending litigation.
American truck drivers echoing the frustrations of their Canadian counterparts. Oh, and thousands of them are expected to ride into D.C. and how long they're expected to stay put.
Plus, school records shattered down on the Plains. Who led the Tigers, a very tall guy, by the way, to their third SEC opponent sweep.
And we have a bit of a break from the rain today, but this weekend might be a different story. Know when the storms are heading our way by downloading our free WVTM 13 app. Your time right now is 4:41.
Well, a third SEC opponent sweep in the books for the Auburn Tigers, the number 3 team of the nation, topping Ole Miss for the second time this season. It was last night. A 7-footer Walker Kessler led the defensive effort. He is really good, a shot blocking machine. He had 8 last night, shattered the school record set by Kyle Davis back in 03. As for the offense, a balanced effort for the Tigers. A bunch of them put up double digit, 4 of them, in fact, double digit scoring. Auburn remains undefeated at home. Final score 77-64. For Auburn. They've got 17th ranked Tennessee this weekend. Final home game for Samford, ending with the Bulldogs on top. 6 lead changes last night. The Bulldogs finally beat Furman 83-75. They're third in the SoCon rankings headed into their last game of the regular season. And over at Jack State, the Gamecocks clinched the top seed in the upcoming ASUN basketball tournament. They improved to 11-3 in the conference. They beat Eastern Kentucky 81-68. By the way, UAB Blazers also looking to secure a first-round bye in the Conference USA tournament. They are on the road tonight. Tip-off at UT San Antonio, set for 7 o'clock.
You're watching WVTM 13 News.
President Biden and his allies closely watching every move made in Eastern Europe as an invasion of Ukraine could come at a moment's notice.
We believe that Putin has made his decision. Period.
The last-ditch efforts being taken to prevent international conflict. Welcome into WVTM 13 News. Thanks for starting your week with us. Glad to have you with us. I'm Rick Carl.
And I'm Carla Wade. We're also following some new research on COVID survivors, what mental health issues are starting to surface in some former patients.
Leaders at Talladega City Schools set to vote on a possible district-wide downsize. We're breaking down some of the plans currently on the table.
But first, you're going to want to grab that umbrella this morning. It is an impact day. Rain is headed our way. expecting it to be in Tuscaloosa before lunchtime. And Stephanie Walker is joining me here at the desk today, along with Harmony, standing by on traffic. Nice to be back together again.
It is.
Yeah,
It's just,
fun.
it's so emotional.
Oh, goodness. Feel like we're at a family meal or something, right? Without the food. Okay.
This morning, Jefferson County officials are tapping into COVID relief money to help get things ready for the World Games this summer.
Yeah, the Jefferson County Commission is giving the organizing committee millions of dollars for the games in July. WVTM 13 Sarah Killian is live from downtown Birmingham. Tell us, Sarah, how is the World Games eligible for this COVID relief money? Let's now turn to COVID. That's where Alabama health experts are anticipating our positivity rate will drop below 10% for the first time this year. The counties that are shaded in orange or yellow here on this map have transmission rates below that threshold. However, there are still 9 counties where the spread is higher than the state's average. All of those are, you can see here on your screen coming up. There you go. Coosa and Etowah County led central Alabama with about 1 in every 5 tests coming back positive. And hundreds of thousands of Alabamians have recovered from COVID-19, but a new study suggests that they may suffer some mental and neurological disorders down the road. Researchers at St. Louis University found that COVID survivors were 40% more likely to struggle with sleeping. They also found they were 20% more likely to use hard drugs within a year of their diagnosis. Researchers say they also saw PTSD, suicidal thoughts, and panic attacks also common among the people that they studied.
Turning now to the National Mall up in Washington, D.C., where hundreds of protesters showed their support for Ukraine. They demanded that President Biden and his administration enact sanctions in response to the latest Russian aggression along the Ukrainian border. President Biden and many others believe that Russia will invade any day now, marking the first major conflict since World War II. Ukraine says Russia is trying to provoke a war. The question, will it succeed?
As the president has said, we believe that Putin has made his decision. Period.
These satellite images show Russian troops on the move outside Ukraine. Ukraine officials say Russian-backed separatists are firing weapons in areas of eastern Ukraine that they occupy. The worry is they'll blame the violence on Ukraine.
Russia trying to create a series of provocations as justifications for aggression against Ukraine is going forward. Now they're justifying the continuation of exercises in quotation marks.
UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson says the result could be the biggest war in Europe since World War II. But NATO still hopes for peace. French President Emmanuel Macron continues to talk with Russian President Vladimir Putin. He's trying to set up a U.S.-Russia summit. The White House says President Joe Biden agrees to it in principle if Russia's actions start to match its words.
There is no innovation and there is no such plans.
If not,
Putin is going to be in a very serious judgment for his future, for the future of Russia, and really for the stability of the world.
As of this morning, this summit will take place on Thursday.
Economists are warning an invasion of Ukraine could result in a price increase for most goods related to energy. That's because Russia is the world's second largest oil producer. Any military action would send crude oil prices soaring even higher, leaving us with gas prices that we haven't seen in nearly a decade. Now, here in Alabama, our average price is sitting right now at $3.27 a gallon for regular fuel. That's according to Gas Buddy. Now, in the Magic City, that average cost is $3.27, which is about the average for the state. Time right now is 6:36, and state lawmakers getting a 3-day weekend due to President's Day today. But when they return tomorrow, they're set to take on some controversial bills.
We've got them for you this morning. First of the bills would establish constitutional carry laws, meaning gun owners would no longer need a permit to carry a concealed handgun. Now, the Alabama Sheriff's Association is strongly against this bill being passed, arguing that permits play a role in combating crime. This bill could go up for vote as early as tomorrow.
And one bill that has since been delayed is the one that increases the penalties for people accused of taking part in a riot. As state Republicans withdrew that bill last week to edit their definition of a riot after House Democrats threatened to filibuster it.
State lawmakers have also pumped the brakes on the school choice bill. That's now been turned over to a study group after receiving some backlash from education groups. If approved, it would give parents $5,500 in state money to send their children to the school of their choice. Well, happening today, the Talladega City Board of Education will move forward to vote on a district consolidation plan.
Yeah, the board voted to delay that decision after hearing some input from parents. The decision to downsize comes down to federal funding, and of course that's based on enrollment. The district's most recent enrollment data shows that it's dropped by nearly 1,000 students since 2010, leaving them with a budget deficit of more than $500,000. Now, the current proposals range from closing 2 of the 4 elementary schools to a full rezoning.
Alabama Representative Mo Brooks could soon be released from a lawsuit connected to the January 6th insurrection. Late last week, a federal judge said he would dismiss the case filed by Democrat Representative Eric Swalwell, arguing that Brooks' actions can be considered political speech. Now, Brooks previously filed for protection under the Westfall Act, and that protects lawmakers if their actions are justified by their jobs.
And today is the last day for victims of last October's flash flooding to apply for some federal assistance. This is only open to Jefferson and Shelby County residents. And to file a claim, you'll need all of the items that you see here listed on the screen, in addition to your phone number and address. You'll also need a general list of the damages and the losses, as well as your banking info, your social security number, and any insurance policy numbers. And you can apply at disasterassistance.gov. And we're expecting to see some rain today. It's not going to be that bad, is it, though, Steph?
Well, it's going to be pretty wet. Today's going to be a good nap day.